What is up everyone? My name is Abbas, your ProtoPie expert, and welcome to another episode of Ask ProtoPie, where we answer questions that you ask us. Today's question comes with an adorable picture, and the question is, the user wants to drag the label dad, and when it's dropped close to a box, the label moves to the center of that box, and then it turns green and a sound plays. Do you have a similar example in your archives? Yes, let's take a very quick look at how we can build this. So to start, let me show you the pie file we'll be working with. You'll notice there's already a few layers, there's already a sound effect layer, and there's already a drag interaction. Let's click the preview and find out what this can do. You'll notice I can drag and move this around, and this is the button layer. And that's pretty much it. Now what we want to do is we want to be able to drag this guy into the drop zone. So the first thing we'll do is select this layer and add a touch up trigger. Touch up comes into effect as soon as we've stopped touching an object. So that's how we know we've dropped this button layer. Next, we want to check where it's being dropped. To do that, let's add a condition. We'll go here and add a condition. A condition is a check. That means whatever values we specify here have to come true in order for those responses to happen. Now, what do we want to check for here? We want to check if the X and Y values of the button layer are between the leftmost X value of the drop zone and the rightmost X value of the drop zone, and the topmost Y value of the drop zone and the lowermost Y value of the drop zone. So let's find out those four values by clicking this box. Now here's a super important note about coordinates. Coordinates for all objects are dictated by a single point. That point is the origin. Here you'll notice the origin is set to the top left corner. You can change the origin of an object by clicking on any of these boxes, or specifying it manually, but right now it's already at the top left corner, and that means the left edge is at x equals 104. So let's use that value in our condition. Let's click our condition layer and say that the x value of the button layer should be greater than or equal to 104. Now let's add a second condition. Select the button layer again, keep it the x value, and this one should be less than or equal to the rightmost edge. So what is the rightmost edge? Let's click this box and change the origin to the top right edge. Now you'll notice that the X value has changed, and this is the rightmost value, 296. Let's go ahead and plug that value here, 296. Now we're done with the X values, and let's go ahead and add the Y values. Click plus to add another condition, select the button layer again, and change the X to Y. Now we want to check for the topmost edge, and it should be greater than that. So let's click this box and find out the topmost edge. The origin is already at the top right corner. That means the top edge is y equals 270. So we'll go ahead and click our condition and enter 270. Now let's add one more condition, change the layer to button, and change the X to Y. And this one should be less than or equal to the lowermost edge. And what is that? Let's click this object again, and now change the origin to the bottom right corner, or any one of the bottom areas. You'll notice that the Y value is now 370. So let's go ahead and plug that value in here, 370. Now we're done with all the four condition checks. So what are we saying here? We're saying if all four of these values are met, then we want a certain response to happen. And what is that response? We want to start by moving it to the center. So let's select the move response. Now we want to move button to the center of the drop zone. So let's find out the center of the drop zone by selecting the drop zone and changing the origin to the center. You'll notice the X and Y values are now 200, 320. Let's plug those values here. So 200, 320. Now let's see what we have done so far. Click preview and we'll try dragging in here. Now you'll notice it's moving, but it's not quite in the center. And if I were to check the edge detection, it's not working perfectly. It's working very lopsided. So why is that? That's because, as you might remember, the X and Y values or the coordinates of any object are dictated by a single point, and that point is the origin. And for this object, the origin is currently at the top left corner. Let's change it to the center. Now all our condition checks will apply to this position. Let's try it again. Now you'll notice that it's moving into the center and the edge detection isn't kind of lopsided anymore. There you go. But we're not done yet. We have to change the color and we have to play a sound. So let's go ahead and add another response. This time let's make it color. We want to change the color for the base layer here. So let's go ahead and select base and change the color by clicking the color picker. I'll pick a green here and give it a fill of 100. If you specify a fill of less than 100, it's going to become slightly transparent. And then let's add one more response. This time we want to play a sound, so let's choose the playback response. Let's play the sound effect layer and let's see what we have so far. There you go. That was super easy. But now let's do one more thing. What if when the object is dropped anywhere outside, it should move back to its original position? To do that, we'll add one more move response. Let's click the plus button here, press move, and this time we want to move the button layer back to its original value, wherever it is right now. To do that, we can just click here and you'll see the default value here. This is its current position, so I'll just enter 200, and the Y value I can see is 452. This is the current value. Now here's one more super important thing that you should take a note of. This move should be moved outside of the condition check. So I'm just going to drag it outside. What we're saying here is if this condition is true, then do these three things. If not, do this one. Now let's preview one more time. And you can see that if it doesn't enter the drop zone, it moves back to its original position. But when it does, it moves to the center, the color changes, and a sound plays. There you go, easy as pie. I hope you found this helpful. Please feel free to leave your question by using the link in the description below. See you next time!